no, please, no, please, no, please, no. I found myself screaming that one evening in the 4th grade toward my parents. We were sitting next to my mother on the couch. This is me and my sister, and my father was in his lounge chair. We were all watching The Indian in the Cupboard when there was a sudden pause to the movie. It then directed my focus toward my parents, and my mother motioned us toward us. And then she said, "Girls, your father and I are getting a divorce." Well, that, although a traumatizing experience for me, it assisted in my character development, and I kind of replay that moment in my head a lot. This morning, I will be discussing the most common causations for divorce, a few aspects of the topic, and how it not only affects the couple, but their children as well. Although an unfortunate fact, everyone in this classroom knows of at least one individual, but most likely more, who have been divorced. I'll begin with the causations. A lot of the times parents find themselves saying, "No, baby, it's not you. You're not the reason your father and I or your mother and I are getting a divorce." But according to Paul R. Amato, he is a professor of family sociology and demography. He states that due to the child effects model, it determines that marital stress is often caused by a child's behavior, meaning that some parents don't want to take it out on the child, so they take it out on one another, and it often leads to divorce. Another reason being pregnancy and marriage due to pregnancy. People believe that they need to get married because they're pregnant and they feel it's going to be best for the baby, when sometimes it isn't, and it often leads to divorce. There's lack of love and affection, such as an abusive relationship. Ruth A. Weinclaw, she is a doctor of industrial and organizational psychology. She states that people get into abusive relationships not knowing that their partner is abusive until it is way too late. They get married, and some are fortunate enough to get out and be divorced, but some just aren't. Now I'll move on to a few aspects of divorce, such as cost and rates. Rates include ones such as said by Andrew J. Sherlin. He is a sociologist. He states that a fact lasting over a decade, 40 to 50% of marriages end in divorce. So the first person I end up marrying, I'm just as likely to divorce him as I am to stay with him. Speaking of costs, although there are a lot of costs, I'd like to just address attorney and court costs. We have Jeff Williams. He is a personal finance author. He states that attorney costs alone is up to $11,000, while court fees are over $1,500, and that's just a small aspect of divorce. Now, while it does have money costs, it has a personal cost as well, such as how it affects loved ones. I myself was a child of depression. I attended several appointments with a psychologist, and I was recommended to various therapists. I was on Lexapro, which is a medicine for depression, and eventually I said to myself, I just kind of need to get over it because I was depressing myself so much because of my depression. And lucky enough, I was able to get out of that depressive state, but others aren't as fortunate as I, such as Makita Rivas. She's a consultant and writer, and when her parents got divorced, they stayed together. They lived in the same home a majority of her life, like as childhood through teenage years. And it gave her the mentality that living in a broken home is how you should give off your ways to future relationships. And she had the mindset toward her future boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever she had. It leads to unhealthy relationships between child and parent. Joan B. Kelly is a clinical child psychologist, and she writes that 80 to 85% of women get sole custody, while men get 15 to 20%. And that means that there's going to be resentment between mother and child and father and child. The child's thinking that the father doesn't want to see them, and they're thinking that the mother is keeping them away from the child. 61 to 74% of fathers find themselves unsatisfied with custody arrangements. Today I discussed a few aspects of divorce. I discussed the causations, the primary causations of divorce, and I discussed how it affects the children of divorce. Now, I've always hated the movie The Indian in the Cupboard. It's my least favorite movie, and it could have been because of my mother's divorce announcement, but it also could just be because cupboards aren't my favorite piece of furniture. Thank you.